anyway, so I ended up looking at different branches. For me, it was going to be Air Force or Navy. I ultimately chose Navy. One of the big factors was because I wanted to travel. Did nuclear engineering. So I essentially worked on all the mechanical systems of the nuclear power plant on a carrier. I leveraged the VA loans. For you guys that don't know, that's something that's afforded to all military members, where you can essentially buy a home, you pay zero money down, low interest rates, and you can do that up to a 4 unit building and still have it be considered residential property. So I bought multi-unit buildings. I would live in one unit, rent out the other two or three, and then I would do that every year. I'd flip it into a new house, and I take out another VA loan, and I would just continue and do that. So I built up a nice real estate portfolio. Was doing pretty well. Was making way more money than most enlisted and then younger officers. Just supplementing my income with real estate. So I did that. Dabbled in stocks a little bit, but really didn't grab my interest. And then I got into crypto around 2016, mid to late 2016. Knew about Bitcoin, missed that opportunity, was really bummed out. Or at least at the time I thought I missed it. And I was just like, okay, I'm not going to miss this. Clearly, there's something going on in this new asset class that came up, right? Because like Bitcoin was one of the first to really show us that the proof of concept, like this can work. These speculative products can make an ungodly amount of money. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to miss my next opportunity. I wasn't in the space enough when Ethereum launched, so I kind of I missed that as well. I was just like, well, shit, like these changing opportunities only come around so often. I was like, well, I already missed two. Like, where the chances are of a third one coming through? Like, really revolutionary, something that changes the game, something that is going to just make an impact in this space. I was like, I probably missed it. But I was in the space. I was heavily involved. I learned about mining. So a lot of us have done mining before, and again, it played off the fact I love passive income. So when I found out, hey, you can build this rig and it's going to essentially mint you these free coins out of thin air, and you can sell them for what at the time I thought was cash or good money, fiat. And I was just like, oh, that sounds amazing. And so I learned how to build those rigs. So I just jumped in, bought like $10,000 worth of computer equipment, sat there on giant piles, and I wasn't even a big computer guy, so I had to learn almost two languages. I had to learn the kind of computer side of it, and then I had to learn the crypto side as well. So I'm learning how to like flash BIOS on my cars, trying to get the system to run well and not crash. And then I started just minting coins, Ethereum. Then I started to get into speculative mining, where you could like pre-mine these coins before they came out, and that could pay huge. So I did that for a while.
Fucking
Mining,
badass, Molly.
mining was cool because I didn't even realize a cool skill that I picked up when I was doing it, but I had a very good indication of where the market was going, because as I was so involved in the mining, I knew how much all the components were. I knew the GPUs were like out of stock all the time. And so I noticed as prices started to dip and everyone's like, "Oh, it's going to go back up. It's going to go back up, right?" But then I started noticing more GPU parts coming on being able to buy. Like you couldn't buy anything back in the day. You would pay like secondary markets 2 to 3x on all these components. I was starting to see that you could buy them at retail prices again. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. And then I was just like, prices kept going down. More stock was coming available. I was like, oh shit, this thing's crashing. I was like, this is all going down. And so I was able to sell all my mining equipment, essentially a little bit more than what I paid for, which was amazing. Mined a bunch of coins I had. I pretty much consolidated everything into Ethereum and Bitcoin. I tried to chase the pump, and that was the thing too. Like I saw the pump and dump groups. I was part of that. I realized very quickly that's just people buying the coins ahead of time and then dumping it on their followers' heads. I and I was just like, you know what? I'm done chasing the pump. I'm just going to consolidate in what I thought was the blue chip stocks, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum. And just like Richard says, all that crashed down just the same as everything else. Everything else, even Bitcoin and Ethereum crashed 80, 85, 90% down just with everything else. I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break from this, focus on what I'm good at. So I consolidated everything into Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then I went back to, I mean, not that I ever left it, but I went back to focusing more on real estate and accumulating properties. And then I just so happened, I'm always on YouTube and stuff like that, looking for new smart people to follow. That was another thing I learned early on, is surrounding yourself with the right people, very intelligent people. It's just going to open opportunities and doors, right? So I was following this guy, Doug Polk, at a time, and he kind of combined both passions of mine, which was I love playing poker. I've been playing poker since a young age. My dad got me into it, and in crypto at the time. and he was interviewing this weird guy, long hair, floral patterned shirt. He was on the throne. I was like, who the heck is this? Just eccentric looking guy, right? Like when you see Richard for the first time, he looks a little bit better now with the shorter hair. In the early days, I was just like, this dude looks weird. But he started talking. Now he started talking. I was like, oh, this dude's intelligent, like super intelligent. And then like I knew he knew crypto way better than I did, way better than Doug Polk. And they got into this discussion essentially where Doug Polk is a professional poker player, and Richard was kind of having a debate with him why poker is a kind of a negative sum game, and they were going back and forth. And I didn't really expect to have my viewpoints changed on poker, but by the end of it, I was just like, oh, he brought up a lot of valid, intelligent points, and I was like, by the end of it, I was like, he's kind of right. Like, and Doug
It's
Polk
funny
kinda
how you actually
pushed back a
said,
little
I'm
bit.
not 100% agreeing with this guy, but he's saying detailed arguments.
Yep.
He know Motley, and I do the same thing. I'm very keen on this. I want to know who's speaking in detail, and I want to follow them, and I
Right.
want to know what they're saying, because you know how little people talk in detail these days, Motley.
Yeah,
Everyone wiggles around.
it's a lot of fluff, a lot of filler. There's
So
no
much fluff.
substance to most of what people are saying, and so like by the end of it, I didn't expect to have my viewpoints changed. And you guys know when you have a debate or maybe an argument or even a discussion with people, very few times is our viewpoints actually change, right? Very few times. Like I can probably count on like one hand. But by the end of it, I was like, he brought up some very valid points that I never dived as deep on as he did, and I was just like, I'm gonna follow this guy. This guy's smart. Good things will probably come from this. Let me learn more from him, right? And dove into his channel, the self-help videos, all that stuff. And then he started going up. He used to be a Bitcoin maxi, and then he started to change his worldview. And then he's like, "Well, I'm going to build my own token." And so,
so you were paying attention during
Yep.
that time where you're like, okay, yeah, Bitcoin's a set, Bitcoin's where it's at, and then you saw him change his POV as he was evolving, and you're like, oh wow, there's a lot of shit you can't. There's a lot of issues with this, and you were paying attention during that time period.
yeah. I mean, I
Because
was
he
never.
was speaking so effectively too.
Yeah, I was never full like Bitcoin maxi. Like, I was really big in Ethereum just because I was a miner and like I did GPU mining. So like I enjoyed that kind of stuff because it gave me more options than what like a ASIC miner does for Bitcoin. But I was following him. I was just listening. And then like I was like, okay, this guy's going to do something great. And then so his first idea was CFD token, which was essentially a lot of this mining is just brute force computation. It doesn't do any good, right? So his idea was just like, why don't we take that useless computation and actually put it towards something good, like solving these advanced mathematic problems that they use in engineering, NASA, all this stuff. And he brought a guy on and was talking about it. And I was like, okay, that's cool. You know, you're trying to take care of something that would usually be wasteful, but turn it to something good. And I liked it. I was more invested again into the person. And I was just like, okay, I'll probably invest in this, but it's whatever. So he went on that for a little bit, but then I think he realized it wasn't as doable once you actually like even he's learning as he goes too, right? Like he was getting into
100%.
like what's possible coding. You learn very quickly. Like 99% of crypto, it's send and receive. It's very hard to actually get it to do functions that you want to do, and so that continued on for a little bit, and then he changed his path. He came up with at the time it was Bitcoin Hex, and he monetized time. And that was just, as soon as he talked about monetizing time, it was just instant click for me. I was like, okay, cool. One of our most valuable assets. You can't get it back. Why not monetize it? And then everything just started to fall in place. It's just like, okay, cool. How do we incentivize this? We'll do staking. Okay, you stake your coins. You're giving up your ability to sell now, but you get to receive the inflation in a form of yield. So you give up your ability to sell, but you're rewarded in the inflation of the token as yield. And the longer you stake, the longer you give up that opportunity cost to sell on the open market, the more rewards you get. I was like, okay, that makes beautiful sense. What are you doing? You're creating
Sounds like real
scarcity.
estate, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
kind of take something that's liquid, your cash or your opportunity to get a loan, and you put that into something that's very illiquid, like a house or whatever. And is he fleshing these ideas like in live stream where you get to see the evolution of the thinking?
Yeah, it's so long ago. I'd have to go back and look at those, but I mean, all the information he must have done on live stream because I was one that it's funny because early on he would say this, but I was one of the guys that was just on YouTube after the kind of crash. I got out of like I was in Telegram, but not like heavily involved, so I didn't go on Telegram. I wasn't on Twitter. I thought Twitter was just like super toxic, so I never touched it. And it was funny because he would do his YouTube streams, and he's like, all you fucking idiots on YouTube, go to my Telegram, go to my Twitter. Like, you guys are literally the last people that get the information. I remember him very distinctively saying that. I was like, oh, that's me. And so like the first before big Hex launched, and before and after Hex launched, for at least the first couple months, I wasn't involved in any of those groups that you see now on Twitter or the Telegram pages. And so I just had YouTube, and like he was telling us like, hey, come in here, you'll get the information quicker. So I know he must have hashed out all the process of Hex and everything on streams, because that's the only medium that I listened to him on. And then it might have actually saved me too early on, which is very nice, because when I was getting into Hex early on, so like when it launched, like I was ready, I learned how to do my signature for Bitcoin, converted everything to Bitcoin, even my Ethereum, so I could get the Hex, free Hex for that. Then I switched it all to Ethereum after that was the snapshot had taken place. And then I just started to DCA into Hex from day one out to about, I think I did about 45, 48 days. And
post-launch was when you got in? 45, 48 days? You said post-launch?
No, I was in from the beginning. I said I DCA'd for like the first like 48 days.
Okay. Sorry,
yep.
Go ahead.
I didn't listen to him on YouTube. I was one of the people that aped in too strong on day one, but I couldn't help myself, right? Because it was already about a year delayed. Everyone wanted to go. So like I remember that day, the first day the AA came out, and I was putting my Ethereum in, and I look at how many you saw how many, I think it was like 21,000 Ethereum or 22,000 Ethereum was day one. And I was just like, I'll put one more Ethereum in. Just because I wanted to, like, I was so excited. I just wanted to start my staking ladder, because I knew about staking. I wanted to start to get the yield going. And so I was just like, I'll just put another Ethereum in. And then by the end of it, I was like up to like 8 Ethereum. And I was just like, okay, that's enough. I'll stop there. But I just wanted more and more, right? Because I wanted to start building the rungs to my ladder. And then day 2 came around, and I went back to the AA lobby, and I looked at it, and it was like half. Like, you got twice as much for your Ethereum as you did day 1. I was like, yeah, Richard's right again. I was like, God damn it. So I quickly adjusted, right? So I was just like, all right, 8 Ethereum, not the smartest move. But then I was like, let me DCA the rest of my stack out. So I would look every day in the adoption amplifier, and I would calibrate how much Ethereum I wanted to do that day. For me, I'm on Eastern, so it's like 8 p.m. every night. I would open my laptop 5 or 10 minutes before, see how much Ethereum was in there, calibrate how much I wanted to sacrifice, and then I would put my Ethereum into the AA lobby, close my computer, and I was done. And again, I wasn't as embedded in the community as I am now, so I wasn't in Telegram, still wasn't in Twitter, and so I missed out on like a lot of early FUD when we took that first big dip. I missed out on some projects that try to kind of do a psyop and take over Hex. So like I missed out on the very early FUD of Hex, which might have saved me from getting out of the program. But I was a machine, right? Just like with working out, I had my routine in place. So like every night, 8 p.m., 10 minutes prior, I'm checking out, seeing how much Ethereum is in, figuring out how much I want to put in. All right, do it. Good, done. Do I want to add a stake? Do I want to consolidate? Okay. Close my laptop, move on. And I was just a machine every day. Same thing. Removed from the FUD, removed from any bullishness, just everything. There was no emotions. It was just straight investing. I knew the idea, the concept, everything was great, and nothing was going to deter me from it. And then after I want to say I did my 40 something days, and I just stopped buying because I ate up all the crypto I had in place. And then I was following it, listening to Richard's live streams. And then I remember the day God Whale came in and bought, and the price never came back after then. It was just like it was just kind of a confirmation. Like that big buy, I think it was like 10,000 Ethereum, was just confirmation of just like, yes, this thing has legs. It's going to be successful. And then after then, I started buying more, and I never stopped buying since. So the past 2+ years, continuously DCA'd in, bought more Hex in the past 6 months than I've ever bought. And I just continue to do so because I know that it's the best asset that exists today. Like in my real estate portfolio, I've liquidated all of it. I'm literally in the process of selling the last house I have, and that'll go into Hex as well. And it's just
so